Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto, and welcome as well if you're new to the channel, and welcome to this new daily update on Ethereum. We're going to do a full update on Ethereum here. We'll talk about the technicals. We'll talk about some fundamentals, not all of it. I mean, when there's fundamentals, I think you need to know about. I'll tell you, right? And most of you know that if you follow these videos. But at this point of time, I don't think that there's major fundamentals we need to talk about. I mean, maybe we should take a look at the Ethereum ETFs and what they're doing. Obviously, we had some great inflows coming in. Yesterday was quite good as well. I expect this to continue. I mean, ultimately, this is good news. But it's also good to realize that every bottom was made when we had outflows and every top was made when we had inflows, right? But the fact that we have just started to get new inflows into the Ethereum ETF and that they are seemingly ramping up, that's good news. So fundamentally, that's good. I think ETH BTC, though, before we talk about Ethereum, because obviously that's, well, I mean, this is also relevant for Ethereum, ultimately. But we're not talking about the price of Ethereum directly right here, but we will, don't worry. But if we take a look at ETH BTC, and this is one of the key reasons why I'm still relatively cautious on Ethereum. I have to be honest and say that I did take some positioning yesterday on Ethereum Beta, which we'll still talk about a little bit later. So basically the Ethereum ecosystem. I do think that there's some strength there, but I'm not, as long as ETH BTC has not been able to reclaim the uptrend, which it hasn't been able to do so on the daily time frame, or at least by a very tiny margin, but it hasn't been able to do so on the 12-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, it's doing pretty good, but it's also not, I mean, the higher the time frame, the better. Unless that happens, which I'll keep you updated on, I'm not going to be very bullish on Ethereum. I think it's good to be bullish on Ethereum here, right? I mean, we have been able, and I told you that yesterday as well, like 4,300 for me was the bearish line in the sand over the course of the start of the week. So that was the level. If we wanted Ethereum to stay bearish, which it was last week in my eyes, and I think most of you will agree, if we wanted Ethereum to stay bearish, we needed to stay below 4,300. So the fact that we were able to break above that with relative ease and with quite a lot of strength as well, and that since then we've been able to hold that a rally up higher, I think that that's good news, right? So I am, I'm slightly bullish on Ethereum here. But the thing is that I don't see any reason to suspect relative strength against Bitcoin. And if you want to know the full reason why, look at my Bitcoin video. But I think it's quite certain, or at least, well, certain not, but I think it's very likely that Ethereum is going to have a pullback. Bitcoin is going to have a pullback. And because of the fact that Ethereum is not outperforming Bitcoin, or at least it isn't at this point of time, so we have to work off of that knowledge, I'd say it's quite likely that Ethereum is going to pull back as well. So short term, I'm actually I'm bearish. Medium term, I'm bullish. I think that, and then long term, I'm bullish as well. I think that's the best way to summarize my thoughts right here. But like I said, I mean, purely technically, we broke above 4,300. Our main support level is also right here between 4,300 and 4,200. There we have the 12-hour uptrend right now. We have the daily uptrend right as well. We have the 7-day rolling VWAP. We have the 30-day rolling VWAP. We have a major fair value gap, and it's also a high liquidity zone, right? So that's also why it was so impressive that Ethereum was able to reclaim or break above that level, depending on how you see that easily. So very strong support level. As you can see, we filled those. We filled that fair value gap right here that we left Friday the 19th. Pretty strong reaction from that as well, which is also technically a bearish confirmation. So I'd say it's most likely we will pull back. But then after that pullback, like I said, short term, I think a pullback is quite likely. After that, I do think we'll be able to at least find stability on top of 4,300. And I would also say it's most likely that we'll rally back up to 47 and 4,800. And then once we get up to that level, I mean, look, obviously the question then becomes, can we rally up higher into 5,500, which in my eyes is the next target? And at this point of time, I'll have to tell you no, because the one thing that we need for that is ETH BTC being bullish, and it's not at this point of time. So that's why I'm telling you this is most likely. Hopefully it helps. Like I said to me, well, ETH, the Ethereum ecosystem, I'll try to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, because there are some signs in there that are very optimistic and very bullish. So there's reason for you to look into that. But I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. So those are my thoughts for now. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend in advance, of course, and have a great day. Bye.